Our next presenter is Bobae Bak, who is doing a Master's of Computing in Artificial Intelligence, and her HIVE internship is titled How Platforms See Influences, and her academic supervisor for this particular project is Professor Abidin, who's in the front of the audience here, and this scholarship is being funded by the HIVE and the Curtin Faculty of Humanities. So, over to you.
Hello everyone, I'm Bobae. You guys have a great lunch for today. Thank you for coming to my presentation. This is my HIVE summer internship project on how platforms see influencers. This research have conducted by the Professor Abidin and then have for Carley Tillett. So, to begin the presentation, I would like to introduce the overview of what platforms are. So, from reviewing of some key literatures reviewing, and after scoping of the potential data set, and we come up with the final list of the 6 categories of the digital platforms. They are video, shopping, live streaming, searching, posting, and messaging. For our project, we want to focus that the platforms are emphasize of the facial information of the influencers. So we take out the shopping platform, searching platform, and messaging platform. The reason one, the shopping platform of the influencers are usually the super reviewer that are making the posters about reviewing of their products on the platforms. And then searching platforms of the influencers are usually the people who posting their knowledge and information for the delivered to the users. And then reason 3 is the messaging platforms of the influencers are usually the reader of the group chat or even more in the strangers group chat. So in somehow, so we take it out that one, finalize, we choose video platform, live streaming platform, and posting platform. So, do you know about influencers? So, for of us who are not familiar of the influencers, I like to describe what is the influencers. So, we categorized influencers into the by format and platform and concepts. So, their format and platform are straightforward: blogger, streamer and stream, Instagrammers on Instagram, TikTokers on TikTok. So there are so many concepts related to the influencers in the world. However, just keep in mind that the influencers in these days are the most professional creators of the videos that are posted and then most popular on their platforms. So our study, we start to choosing are we going to investigate of the platforms. So we choose 9 platforms here. 3 platforms are from Silicon Valley in the USA. From the top of the bottom, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, and Instagram. And 5 platforms from the East Asia. The Dinosaur's cute logo is called Bigo, is from Singapore. And TikTok, Bilibili Xiaohongshu, is from China. And lastly, the yellow of the logo called Kakao Story, and then right side of the logo is Africa TV in Korea. So we choose these international platforms for main 3 reasons. Number 1, platforms are very responsible for using the recommendation algorithms for promoting specific contents to all users. So it means that it is very important to understand what types of the influencers are promoting to everyone. So second reason is that the actual demographic of the influencers are accurately matched to the users. For example, on YouTube, the 3 of the countries used the most YouTube are India, USA, and Indonesia. But from our research with the incognito mode, we found that the viewers usually are promoted by the American or white cultures of the influencers. So it is very important to understand that what types of the dominant cultures of the influencers are promoting to the viewers. And then the last reason is that the influencers are not promoting the inequalities between minority and the majority. It is described that influencers usually follow the trend of the social and then put the risk in the exhibit of the diversity and then inclusivity. So our study, finally, we want to draw the typical influencers and then show that display through our project. So from beginning our study, we start to narrow down our genres, how we collect the influencers from every genres. So first of all, we list all of the possible genres from the database in Social Blade. And then we start to focus on the face influencers. And then after that, we want to find the genres that are focused on forehead of the faces. There are finalized of our genres that chosen by gaming, fashion, beauty, lifestyle, food, beverage, and fitness health. So our projects, our major aims and goals is to discover what a typical influencer looks like. So our methodologies, we start to collect the empirical data from 9 platforms of the 3 genres. And after that, we made a virtual influencers images from them by averaging. So this averaging information gives us to very dominant facial skin tone and gender ratio. And through this information helps us to benchmark of the facial optics on the platforms. So beyond this project, we can make the suggestion to the platform and then influencers industry and viewers about their practices. So from the beginning of our methodologies, we start to set up the data collection criteria. So first of all, we include of the frontal-facing angle influencers are prepared. And then we prioritize the influencers over everyday users. And absolutely that every images needs to be detectable eyes, nose, and jawline. But note that we include of the religious headdresses, absolutely okay. However, the mainstream celebrities, which means that are usually celebrities in the traditional platforms, such as TV and then music video or more movies, we take it out. It's not a source for our purpose of the project. And then because of the constants and then the cyberbullying issues, we take it out the child and minors. And no facial in the mentors, we take it out, such as sunnies and mask on the images. So our method is to start from the first to the images capture, image crop, averaging image, texture generation, 3D shaping, and 3D modeling in the 6 steps. So first of all, we start to set up or saving the image captures by manually. We every day collect the 10 influencers from 9 platforms in each 3 genres. So these images are showing that one of the examples how I correct. And the second step in the image graph that we want to focus on the facial influencers images. So we want to narrow down the size of the data. So we detect of the faces and then save them in automatically. And then this process make our data more narrowed down and then scaled down. And the third, from the image cropping, we start to averaging images. This means that from the image cropping shape, and we detect facial points such as eyes, nose, lips, and jawline. But remember that every cropping images have a different scales, so we need to make sure that the centralized of the faces and then aligns every in the center, and then averaging all together. So this is the results of the averaging images. But furthermore, our projects, we want to more put the realistic from the 2D images into the 3D model. So from the texture generation, 3D shaping, and 3D modeling process are about the making the 3D. And from the first of the 3D modeling generation is that we need to make the texture generation, put more colors and about their 3D polygon shape. So widely spread these 2D images, the textures, and then put them into the 3D mesh model. This is the results of our texture generation. And then the fifth step, generate 3D mesh shape from the array of facial points. This facial point is about the detectable of their eyes, nose, and lips jawline. And then we made a 3D polygon shape. And then lastly, I made combined the synthesis of the texture generation and the 3D shaping mesh object. I finalized our final models. So this is our project of the results in 3D influencers model. From the left to the right is organized by the platform name, and from the top of the bottom is about the genres. Note that the Bigo Live of the platforms are not actually specific genres they are recommend for us. So we only choose the 3 of the toppest countries and then pick it up from that. And then from the results, we suggest the results of the dominant color tone of these virtual influencers images, as well as we can analysis of the gender ratio by the raw data set. It's quite creepy, isn't it? Okay, this is our project of the website. We want to show all of the process and the final outcomes to everyone. So we want to publish this web page into the website. So I made a website, and then this is a little bit of part of the non-interactive way. So see that this intro of our final result, and then please stay here until my demonstration. So our findings discover and impacts on platform influencers and viewers. So in the platforms, they need to promoting their specific influencers or cultures with transparency. And also they need to aware of they have powers of accountability. So we want to suggest 2 of the values. And the influencers also need to aware of their losing of individuality by the pressure of recommendation system of the platforms. So this can rid of diversity, and then it makes exclusive of the minority of the influencers. As a side of the viewer, they need to realize their percept of every platforms and then influencers. So they need to take care of and then thinking about, is that really promoting by the platform or something biases data. So I want to give the 2 of the questions for everyone. So if you take photos, do you feel pressures to use the filters? In my answers, usually when I take a selfie and then I use the filters, the eyes is more make the bigger, and then the faces lines make more smaller. This is all of the making the process of dominant and the specific stereotypes to the influencers. And then second option that if you are a parent, do you have a concern about the typical influencers and your child is exposed to? If I have a child, I don't have right now, but I will not happy to see this kind of the stereotype of the words to my child. So we need to more focus on the keep it the minority of the influencers. As a future work, we only focus on the facial influencers of the images. So from the moment I want to make more whole mask up the whole body of the typical influencers, the consideration of the ASMR genre, fashion, fitness and health channel, because they are usually exposed there from the top onto the bottom, and then it actually wasn't took care of their faces. And the second that is we want to more developing wider scope of the data collection. For example, in the world, everyone has a different styles of the time. So in the cases of the TikTok or YouTube, some of the influencers are sleeping, and then their users are exposed to different types of the contents. So we want to make more specific data collection scope and then make more accurately data. So references like that. Thank you for contribution to this questions.